I'm Monica Tapp, and this is my studio. Working with collage as an intermediary step, as a different mediation, came from realizing that I wear painting glasses all the time. I see the world through painting, and I feel like painters have given me the eyes with which to see. So my own perceptual apparatus is built of painting. So I thought it might be interesting to see what would happen if I tried to approach the subject matter really literally through that. And I was curious to see what would happen if I welcomed into the paintings these different ways of seeing. My engagement with the works of other people and trying to teach myself new languages through their work has been a long-standing interest. And historically, artists learned to paint by copying other painters. When I first began working with the historical drawings by European artists to build paintings, that was prompted by a theorist named Henri Lefebvre. And I'd come across a quote by him where he said something about how painting could recuperate a sense of lost time by fusing together different times and different places into the single space of the canvas. That became a cue. Like, what if I bring all these different, like 4 different centuries, 4 different artists, 4 different places into a painting? So painting is this kind of magic container of time. It can contain different times in the same space. But yeah, so it's like interrelationships, interconnectedness, interdependence of everything. And that is also sort of key to the critique of the solitary genius in their studio, or, you know, the solitary romantic figure in the landscape painting the gale against all odds. And that ecosystem goes beyond the human. It incorporates what's called the more than human world. That's a really critical part of what I'm thinking about. Kind of broken ecologies of the history of painting. Ecological, holistic view rather than an individual heroic view. The importance of nature has become foregrounded in my practice. The paintings all come from a friend's off-grid cabin on the Pickerel River. And the Pickerel River is part of the French river system that drains into Georgian Bay, so we're talking northern Ontario. One of the things that's really amazing about this landscape is that it already looks like a collage to me. It has this extraordinary range of like foliage and vegetation and so forth, everything from the tiny scale of the lichens and the mosses. When you get down on one of these rocks, there's this entire world that's happening. Sucker Creek is a whole ecosystem that is accessed basically by going over the ridge from behind the cabin. It's called a creek. When you look at it, it doesn't look like a creek, it looks like a lake. And that's because they're very industrious beavers. It's an entire ecosystem that has been landformed by beavers. And as a result, it's this incredibly rich ecosystem with this wide range of plant and animal life. It's very hard to get there by boat. It's only when the water's very high that you can take a canoe through there. So the Latcham exhibition is not the first time I've dealt with one location, but it's the first time I've dealt with a location that I have such a personal relationship to. The title, Once in Summer, The once is important in that title because there's our relationship to time. Once in Summer is a line taken from a Mary Oliver poem. I didn't come up with that beautiful line. I found it. It's like a collage element. The title is also a collage element. That sense that time's passing. It's once in summer, and if we're lucky, another summer, and nature reminds us constantly of how everything is shifting. Temporariness as well as the temporality are both very succinctly contained in those three words, and I really loved that about it. Three of the paintings are in response to a fire that ran through that area in 2018. There was the Perry Sound 33 fire. Initially, everything had been burned off the rocks. The rocks were like this sheer white that I'd never seen before. It was basically a black and white landscape. And the next year, these mosses had come up in hot oranges and bright cinnabar greens. And then the third year, you have the jack pines that, of course, only release once a fire goes through. So then the landscape changes again. This collage-based approach to, I guess, designing or constructing a painting is something I started back in about 2019, and it's been shifting over the time as it does whenever I shift gears in a really major way. And so I guess the most obvious shift is from like the photocopies of predominantly European painters to the auction catalogues, which was initially a very pragmatic thing because a friend works at an auction house and dropped off a whole box of them, and the reproduction quality was so good. Plus, at that point, I'd started working with more Canadian subject matter, so it made sense to see what would happen if I worked predominantly with that. I actually feel that by using these auction catalogues, I'm engaging in a really artisanal form of image circulation and kind of like thrifting art history to offer a different way of thinking about our relationship to landscape. I think I thought of myself as more of a magpie than a Dr. Frankenstein of painting, but I can understand how someone could get there with this. So in these paintings, I'm not coming at this with a hammer, I'm coming at it with scissors, not feeling badly about vandalizing those images, because I think you have to break old ways of seeing if you're going to create other ways of seeing.